beer, cheese, pretzels, Canada. Think of some of the great things that Canada's given us. The Canadarm on the space shuttle, Chris Hadfield on the space shuttle, beer, cheese, pretzels, Bryan Adams? All right, maybe not. But, you know, I had this in Canada the very first time I had it. And by Canada, I mean it was the Canada Pavilion at Epcot. This is a copycat recipe. It is absolutely fantastic. We're making beer cheese soup and we're making homemade pretzels. These are gonna be amazing. Stick around, let's get it done.
So we're gonna start off in a 5-quart stock pot with 1/2 pound of bacon cut into pieces about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch wide. Easiest way to do this is to stick it in your freezer for a little bit, let it get cold. I left it in a little bit too long, so this is colder than I wanted, but that's fine. We're gonna stick it in on medium heat. We're not gonna put anything else in there. We're gonna let the fat render out, and we're gonna use that fat as our lubricant in the pan. So again, you don't want this too hot, so medium heat. Just let it come up slow. Once it's reached your desired level of doneness and you see the fat start to foam like that, you know you're done. We're gonna put 1 medium, which is about 1.5 cups, diced red onion, about 1/4 inch dice, and same 1/4 inch dice, about 1.5 cups of celery. Ends up being like 3 full ribs. Give that a stir, and all that fond that's stuck to the bottom is gonna come up. That's deliciousness. You don't want to lose that, so don't worry about it. The liquid from the veggies will make that come up. Look how pretty it is already. Look at that. I want to stick that in my mouth right now, but I gotta wait. Look at that. So once your veggies start to soften up, we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter. Yeah, I know that's 5. That's actually 4 tablespoons cut into 5 pieces. All right, get off my back, Jack. But look at that. That is so pretty. Smells so good. That fond is coming up nicely. Oh, this is so good. So good, people. Look at that. Now we're going to add 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, 1 cup. And then we're going to whisk it together. We're going to make a roux. And we don't want to cook it too far. We just want to cook off that raw flour flavor. So give it a mix. We're still over medium heat. Get out of the whisk. Come on. Bang it around. And then we're going to add 3 cups of chicken stock. And then we're going to whisk it together. And you're going to see, as soon as I start to whisk it, it's going to thicken up. It's going to lighten in color. And it's going to look beautiful. Ooh. And what's going to happen is that crispy bacon's going to soften up a little bit. It's going to give flavor. Look at that. Look what's happened. That's amazing. Once you get it bubbly, you're going to let it simmer like that for about 15 minutes. Stir it occasionally. And then here we are. Nice. Bubbly. Delicious. Now we're going to whisk in 4 cups, 1 quart of whole milk. You want to drizzle the milk in slowly. You don't want to just dump it in because the shock of the cold milk with that hot base is not going to be nice. So slowly whisk it together. That'll prevent lumps. You don't want lumpy soup. And once it's all in, we're going to whisk it. And again, we're going to keep this on low heat for about another 15 minutes or so. But pay attention, you do not want this to boil. You want it to get hot, but not boil. And here we are, about 15 minutes later. We're going to season with our salt and pepper. Be very careful with salt. The bacon has salt. The cheddar cheese we're going to add in a little bit has salt. So I would say don't add salt or too much salt yet. Add as much pepper as you like. I like pepper. And since it's a Disney recipe, it's coming out of my Mickey Head's pepper grinder. Whisk it in. Make sure it's all combined. Taste it periodically to check for seasoning. But again, you don't want to go too heavy with the salt too soon. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of your preferred hot sauce. This is the one that I put on everything because that's my preferred hot sauce. And then 1 tablespoon of what's this here sauce? Get that in and give it a mix. You can add more hot sauce if you'd like. You can add less hot sauce if you'd like. 1 tablespoon for my taste buds is perfect. Gives a nice little tingle and it's perfect. Now it's time for beer. 1/2 cup of warm, preferably lager, preferably Canadian lager beer. But that's all you need is 1/2 cup. Mix it in well. Then let's get cheesy with it. What do you say? This is 1 pound of white cheddar cheese, shredded. If you buy the pre-shredded cheese to use in this, I don't recommend that. I always recommend buying the best quality that you can find and afford and manage and work with. You may not want to shred a pound of cheese, but just be aware if you're using pre-shredded cheese, it's covered in starch so it doesn't stick together. And that starch will make this even thicker. So something to keep in mind. If it does get a little too thin, you can add just a little splash more milk to thin it out. But you want to add this cheese a little handful at a time. Stir it in, let it get melty. You don't want like clumps of cheese. You don't want it grainy. Oh, and I almost forgot. Turn the heat off before you add the cheese. So I hope you're not making this for the first time you're not watching this for the first time as you're making it. Turn the heat off. You don't want the heat on as you add the cheese. The residual heat in the soup will melt that cheese down. Make sure it's mixed thoroughly. Now you have an option to make, you have a decision to make, I should say, at this time. You can blend this out. If you don't like the chunks of vegetable and bacon in your soup, you want it super smooth, you can run an immersion blender through it. You can stick it in a regular blender, taste for seasoning. You could stick it in a regular blender. I like those chunks of vegetables and bacon. It's delicious. So now, on to pretzels. In the bowl of our stand mixer, we're going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. That's 1 envelope if you're using the envelope kind. I like to add a little tiny pinch of sugar. I don't even measure it out, just literally a little pinch, just to give the yeast something to eat as it's blooming. And then we're going to add 1 1/2 cup of warm water. You want it between 100 and 110 degrees. You don't want to go over 110 degrees because you'll kill the yeast. If you're too cold, it won't bloom properly. But get that in, and we're going to give this about 10 minutes to bloom. One thing I did with this shot here, I love the way yeast looks when it's blooming. Look at that. It doesn't actually make that sound. I make that sound as I'm watching it. But I just think it's so cool to see, and this is a great shot. Anyway, so transfer the bowl to the stand mixer. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. It's coming. It comes in fast. There we go. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. There we go. And then we're going to start adding our flour about 1/3 or so cup at a time. We don't want to add it in too fast. We want to give it time to hydrate and mix. This dough is going to be slightly sticky. Actually, I should say tacky, not sticky. You'll see. You end up with a slightly sticky dough once you're done mixing, and then you'll knead in a little bit more flour later. But you want to mix it until it pulls away from the sides. Again, don't drop all the flour in at once. You want to put it in little by little. And this is it's about 470 grams of flour. I like to measure my flour by weight, not by volume. Because if you pack it in, you end up with more. So I do flour by weight, and I do it in grams because grams are more accurate and we should use them more often. There you go. You got a nice sticky dough. We're going to keep adding flour to it. As it comes together, you can increase the speed of your stand mixer. Let it go crazy. It's not too late to whip it around, apparently. I love soft pretzels. They are one of my true guilty pleasures. And I tried making a Mickey head-shaped one, and it didn't work out. As that comes together, again, we can increase the speed. Forms a nice soft dough. Again, we're going to finish this off by hand on the counter. We just want to get everything incorporated. So on a generously floured work surface you should probably put a little flour on your hands so that doesn't happen. I had it on the left hand, not on the right hand. Then I have to fight with it a little bit. It works out in the end, trust me. So you want to knead this for a couple of minutes until you have a nice, supple, beautiful dough, nice and soft. You don't want to overwork it. Just work it just enough where it comes together. Tuck everything under. Look at that. That's going to turn into some delicious pretzels. We're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. And here it is. Starting to plump up nicely. Looking real pretty. Now I'm going to cut this into 8 equal pieces. So cut your dough in half. Put one half off to the side. We'll work the first 4, then we'll go with the second 4. And then you're going to cut this into 4 equal pieces. Normally I'll measure this out, but I was kind of in a rush and kind of lazy, so I eyeballed it. It didn't come out too bad. There we go. And one more. Now what we're going to do is roll each piece. Take one piece, a little bit of flour on the countertop or the board, whatever you're using. And we're going to roll this out into a snake about 18 to 24 inches long. You want to start from the middle and kind of push outward. I find it's easier to stretch as I push away from myself. That's just my own technique, which is amateur at best. But it works. It works, people. Now, twisting pretzels is it's a skill. It's definitely a skill. It's a skill I need to work on. And you'll see that in just a second. But you want to roll this out nice and thin. Like I said, about 18 to 24 inches long. Then we're going to twist it. So fold it over itself. Act a little spastic. There we go. I'm going to twist it until you get that shape. You don't have to put the second turn on it. You can do it however you'd like. I like having an actual twist in it. Some people just cross it over. Now in another 5-quart pot, we're going to put 9 cups of water and 1/2 cup of baking soda. Traditionally, pretzels used to be soaked in well, not soaked, but boiled quickly in a bath of lye and water. Lye, if you're keeping score, is drain cleaner these days. It's generally not used in cooking, although you can get food-grade lye. A nice home substitute that's safe to handle is baking soda. So 9 cups water, 1 cup baking soda. We're going to bring that to a boil. Now once it's boiling, we're going to give each of our pretzels a little quick bath. 30 seconds max. Doesn't have to be in that long. You want to kind of get a coating on the outside. That baking soda mix is basic. If you're familiar with chemistry, baking soda is a base, and this is what gives pretzels that nice brown shiny color, and boiling it gives that chewy texture. That's probably my favorite part of the pretzel. The roasty, toasty, nutty deliciousness on the outside, and the soft, chewy on the inside. I'm going to pull them out, transfer them onto a baking sheet that we've prepared with a piece of parchment paper, sprayed with some cooking spray. And then I'm going to top that with some kosher salt. For some reason, I didn't film myself doing that. But just go through 2 at a time, 3 at a time, whatever your pot can handle. And just boil them, again, for maybe 30 seconds. Get a nice coating. These are going to be slippery, so as you go through, you don't want to be careless. Otherwise, you got pretzels flying across the kitchen. Nobody wants that. Go through the last ones. You put them in an oven for about 15 minutes on 400. I missed filming that part, but this is the end product. Look at how pretty those are. The cracks in them, that's what makes it beautiful. So 15 minutes, 400 degrees. Then I'm going to transfer them to a wire rack to cool down, but you don't want them to cool down too much. You want to eat them while they're still warm, because that's when they're the best. With mustard or soup. Look at that. So delicious. Now let's plate it up. So we got a glass bowl on a glass plate. Anybody want to predict? Drop it down in the comments what you think how you think that's going to work out. A glass bowl on a glass plate. Stay tuned. So we'll bowl up some of our soup. Now we'll garnish that with some crispy bacon pieces and some green onion that we've sliced. And then we'll garnish the whole thing with a beautiful pretzel. Oh, look at that. I'm salivating.
All right, so we spent so much time putting this together. It's beautiful, it's delicious, or at least it smells delicious. I know it's gonna be delicious because I got that kind of confidence. So let's see, let's confirm this, shall we? Ooh. Ooh, look at that. I'm so excited. Maybe get some of the bacon, some of the green onion. Whoa. You know, for it only having a half a cup of beer, it really comes out. Pretzel. Look at that. That is a good looking pretzel, if I may say so myself. And I do. All right. Make a lot of noise. You gotta dip it in the soup. Look at that. Dip it in the soup. That is so good. That is so good. Because you listen to me squish and chew. Now, that's the bottom. That looks good. Wow. I love soft pretzels. Love them. They're so good. So good. This was such a great recipe. It doesn't take that long, doesn't take any complex ingredients or techniques. Definitely try this out. If you're a Disney fan like I am, you'll really love it. The pretzels are pretty good too, I must say, but the soup is better. So try this out. If you like this video, hit subscribe, smash the like button. If you want to give me some suggestions of something to cook, hey, put that down in the comments. You want to tell me I suck? Hey, put that down in the comments. I'm a big boy, I can take it. Actually, I'm a really big boy, and I'll probably beat you up and take your lunch money. This was such a fun recipe to make. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.